So we just finished the introduction. We introduced our course or our program, and then we gave you a simple and applied definition for research. The next step, just Mohamed, please start to give us the first discipline of research. That's upcoming, the medical research. Okay, so the first thing in the medical research you have to know is the literature review. Just I'm going to stop here for a while. So if, for example, if you have some money, you want to invest this money in a business, and you have an idea now, are you going to apply this idea immediately? Absolutely not. You have to study your market. You have to study your competitors. If you have some money, you are going to invest in building a building for rent or sale. So first, are you going to achieve the idea immediately? Absolutely not. You have to think about. You have to have some time to take the opinion of friends, family, or friends. You have to see what's the design, and then you have to go to the contractor. You have to go to architect, and then you make a research proposal probably, and then you also still you have to figure out your financial estimate, the time, all of those. And then finally, after fulfilling all of those, probably you may or you may not go to or you achieve your idea. This is exactly for research. The question for you, does it make any sense to do a research that has been published before? Absolutely not. This is for the literature review. Before starting any research, please go to the literature review and know what is the latest. You have to start from the end point in your topic that has been published before. This is the most common mistake for, in medical research. People do not do a good literature review. So just another question for you. In the last 3 or 6 months, for example, how many times did you go to the medical library? What do you think? And how many times did you go to the online research? I think the answer is obvious. We are conducting online researches now too often than the classic research in library. For that reason, we are going to teach you in this level, the PubMed, which is the free access. You have to know about PubMed. And then there are another research engine, Cochrane, Scholar, Google Scholar, Scopus, Science Direct, all of those. We are going to teach you later. So you have to know about literature review. And then research proposal. This is what I'm speaking just now. If you have, for example, if you have some money, are you going to invest in constructing a building, this building for sale? I'm just stressing every time on sale or rent because this is the marketing of your project, which is exactly the same for research, the publication. Look to those people. They are looking now closely to this research proposal, and I think it's not the first time you have to have this meeting. So in this style or this maquette, they can change it. They can put more level. They can demolish another level. They can change the garden. They can change the garage. So in this time, any changes can be done. However, if there is an error, if there is a mistake which is overlooked now and discovered later on after constructing the building, what's the outcome? Delaying in finishing this building. Exactly the same in research. Make a research proposal in front of you. Okay, look it closely. Have the opinion. Have the feedback from expertise, because I'm speaking about medical research. So have opinion from the expertise and discover any limitation in this time. This is just like a pilot study for your research. Exactly. Okay, and the research proposal is mandatory for what? Yes, if you conduct the prospective studies, if there is any ethical issues in your research, you have to write a research proposal. If you ask for a grant, if you ask for a fund, you have to write a research proposal. We are going to teach you how to write a research proposal. And then going to the third discipline in medical research, which is citation manager. I remembered in 2008, by the way, when I wrote my thesis in certain kind of renal tumor. Unfortunately, I didn't know about citation manager. I collected the references and I wrote it manually. Could you imagine? Yes, manually. It is frustrated, by the way, to write the references manually, and it's not accepted now, by the way. So there's software programs that are going to help you to collect, organize your references. They are going to help you to insert them into the manuscript. And then it's not accepted now to send a manuscript with manually done references. And sometimes you submit your article to a journal, and which has, for example, or this journal asked for a specific kind of style, and then this article was rejected by this journal, and then you have to submit it to another journal. So this journal asked for another style. So Citation Manager, by one click, they can easily change your style. There is Vancouver, there is Harvard, there are many styles that we are going to teach you later on. So you have to be familiar with the recent soft tool, which are the Citation Manager. I'm going to teach you in this level in and out. Mainly, they are the most famous, and I'm mastering them. But there are other commercials. You can work with either one that you are familiar with. But at least you have to master at least one Citation Manager to organize and to collect your references. And then here another cornerstone, medical studies and the design. You have to know about the types of medical studies. You have to know about the design of medical studies. There are many studies, and there are 2 separate lectures on this issue. I'm going just a snapshot, 13 or the most famous 3 studies. So if you wanted to study, for example, a prevalence of a certain disease, what the best study of choice? Cross-sectional study. If you want to study the incidence of a certain disease, which kind of study? Cohort study, which is prospective study. Okay, so if you have a new medication or a new device that you want to examine, you have to conduct experimental studies. And then finally, you have to be familiar with, we're going to teach you the basic definitions. What the population is, the sampling, the risk, relative risk, incidence, prevalence, null hypothesis, type 1 error, type 2 errors, randomizations. You have to familiar with all terms to conduct your medical research completely. Please stretch just to refresh. We finished now the medical research. We are going to go to the second discipline, which is the basic biostatistics. Every time I teach the biostatistics, it's really a headache for the medical professionals. And really, it was me in the beginning, but I'm going to assure you. Number one, or take my advice as an expert and an instructor. Too much information in the biostatistics is not needed in the beginning. Okay, basic information is a mandatory in the beginning to start your medical research. So don't wait, please, to know everything in biostatistics to conduct your medical research. The second advice is work in a team. So have somebody or a biostatistician to work with him to finish your studies. And then I can also add a third advice. Don't bother, don't pay more attention to the statistical analysis and leave it to an expertise. Work in a team. For example, conduct research, collect the data and analyze your data, do research review, and then have somebody with you. And then with the time, with like 2 or 3 years, you can learn more about biostatistics. Okay. So in level 1, I'm going to teach you the basics. So you have to know about the types of variables in next lectures. So there are kind of variables you have to know. You have to know about the types of data, normal distributed or abnormally distributed. You have to know mean, median, standard deviations, because they are, you should use them in the description of or writing the manuscript, or at least in any presentation of yours. So you have to know also about the p-value, the confidence interval. You have to know the most commonly used statistical tests. For example, you have to know about chi-square test, t-test, Mann-Whitney test. Those are common tests that we usually use them frequently in our medical research. And then also you have to know how to test a new test: sensitivity, specificity, positive predictive value, and negative predictive values. And this is the very famous diagram of normal distributed data. I'm going to teach you this. What does it mean, this curve? Then HBSS. This is one of my research. It is, do you remember, a certain kind of kidney tumors, and 305 patients, and this is the SBSS. I'm going to teach you. This is the interface of the SBSS. It collects all information about these patients. So SBSS, it's a professional program. It's a statistical program. It's not like Word or PowerPoint that it's easy to deal with. It is a statistical program, so you have to know the basics of or basic biostatistics to deal with this SBSS or with this program. And really this is I saw it many times in teaching. People bother, or the people pay attention more to analysis. It's not right. Don't bother by analysis now. Just learn how to collect the data. This is important. For that reason, I found it is really practical from the teaching experience that we can divide the SBSS experience into 3 stages. The first stage is it's yours. Nobody will collect the data. It's your job, and nobody will verify your data. It's your job. However, you can give the data after it has been collected correctly and after it has been verified to an expert. It's true. So step 1, it is in basic, in this level, creating. We're going to teach you how to create a SBSS spreadsheet for data collection. And then this is the second step, which is very important. Let me tell you something, a common mistake for the people. After collecting the data, they jump immediately to analyze the data, which is really wrong. You are going to discover many mistakes, many missing variables on analyzing the data immediately. However, this step should be also, you have to learn this step. So how to manage, arrange, verify the data is very important, which is a pre-analysis stage. And finally, the analysis. I'm going to teach you the basic analysis. However, the advanced analysis, I see it is not needed in your level now. Okay, we finished the medical research, you finished the basic biostatistics. Let's go to the fruits, the outcome, the scientific publication. Let me be honest with you. Most of the research courses really do not pay attention, do not stress on scientific publication. Most of them teach research, most of them research the types of medical studies, and then how to publish. It is different experience at all. Have to learn at least how to write abstract. Have to learn how to write a manuscript. You have to learn how to submit your manuscript journal. And there is somebody who is a corresponding author. He has to deal with the journal, with the editor-in-chief, with the reviewers. All of those, you have to learn all of those disciplines. And I always say in the courses, 1 online published article is better than 10 unpublished articles in the drawer. You have to publish, you have to share your knowledge, you have to finish your research by publication. The first advice for you, you have to read and read and read to will be able to write and write. Writing manuscripts it's not impossible, but it takes time, and always I recommend to work with a guide. I still, for example, after writing my manuscript, have somebody who is an expert. Dr. Yasser Osman is my professor. I usually just forward this article. He is expert, and with time, if you see my level in 5 years ago and my level now, it's completely changed. Now, after I say I can write manuscript, and after for another 5 years, I can be independently in writing the manuscripts. We're going to teach you the basic components of the manuscript. I think you are familiar with this order: the title, authors, abstract, introduction, material and the methods, and discussion, all of those. However, in writing the manuscript, we are going to teach you something different, really. We usually start writing the manuscript with the body, which is the material and the methods and the results, those. And then we usually write the discussion, and then finally the introduction. We do not bother by the title, we do not bother by abstract in writing the manuscript. There is also another experience, the thematic scope of the manuscript, which is really important. For example, in introduction, we usually start with something broad and then getting narrower every time. Urinary tract stones, for example, is a common disease, affects 8 to 15% of the population. And then For example, 20, for example, to 30% of the urinary stones is a ureteric stone, and then medical expulsive therapy, shockwave lithotripsy, ureteroscopy, or the management options for the ureteric stone. And then medical expulsive therapy has been introduced for the management of distal ureteric stone. Then certain medication, Tamsulosin, for example, is alpha blocker such and such. This is now I got narrower. And then all of my article is going to be I'm studying this one of my studying the Tamsulosin. And then after finishing the body, the material and the methods and the results, then I'm going to expand again. I'm going to compare, I'm going to discuss, interpret my results in manuscript, and then I'm going to also compare my results with the other published article, which is the discussion. Okay, so this is something you have to know about writing manuscript. Okay, so the story doesn't finish really. You have to learn how to write a cover letter to the editor-in-chief. You have to write how to write the title page. There is something named author agreement form. There is a specific way to prepare the tables and the figure. There is a specific way or certain limits for the words. You have to count them before submitting the abstract or the manuscript. We are going to teach all of those, and then finally in advanced course we can teach you how to write to the editor-in-chief, how to reply to the reviewers. Correct? We finished the basic disciplines for medical research, basic biostatistics, scientific publication, and then going to this question. This question has been asked many times. How do we start medical research? I found something really, it's a little bit helpful to you, to learn how to start medical research. Just remember, how did you learn driving? And then I put some questions for learning driving. We are going to consider the same questions for research, and it will be helpful. Okay, the first question for you nowadays: is it unnecessary, recommended, or mandatory to learn car driving? What do you think? I think most of the people will say recommended. Some people will say mandatory, correct? And a few people will say unnecessary. I think now car driving is mandatory, to live. The same question for you in medical research. What do you think? At least most of the people will say, yeah, medical research is recommended. Okay, how did you learn car driving? As you remember, you have a tutor, you have a teacher, and then you started first, do you remember this test? Exactly. Then start with the course, start with an instructor to learn research. How did you get your confidence in car driving? What do you think? Practice driving. This is exactly the answer. You will never get a confidence, you will never get experience in medical research without practicing. If you take this course and then you stopped and you didn't conduct in medical research, it is completely useless. And then, do you know everything about car power, electricity, or mechanics? What do you think? I hope to know, but it's hard. At least you have to know the basics. Exactly in research, you have to know the basics. And if your car has a problem, okay, you just call a mechanic or a technician, and then he has to fix the problem. Exactly. Have your research started, and then if you have a problem, if you stuck in your research, okay, just call or ask for a guide. Correct. Where did you first practice driving? On surface roads or highways? What do you think? In surface roads, exactly the same. This is a common problem with the people. People say, oh wow, I want to publish in Lancet, a New England journal. People, it is those journals have high impact factor. They are high quality journals. It's okay, but at least my advice, okay, just to start in case report, case series, just to work with the team. After a while, you can conduct high quality research. This is true. You start with the surface road and then highways later on. If you drive for a while, can you teach driving to a friend? Exactly. 5 years ago, I was a learner. Now I'm teaching. Exactly. If you start now to learn, after 5 years, you can be a teacher in research. Exactly. Those are questions that you can put, or questions that probably may help you in to know how to start medical research. Okay. Just in a summary, we introduced the importance of evidence-based medicine and the importance of research. We introduced for you our program or our course. We defined the research simply, and then we give you the basic disciplines for research, medical research, literature review, research proposal, citation manager, the basics of the research design and the research types, medical studies, and then we are going to teach you the basics of basic biostatistics and the SPSS, and finally we are going to teach you the outcome. You have to have the outcome by scientific publication, and then I think we answered this question, how to start your medical research. I so appreciate your time. Thanks a lot, and I'm going to see you in the next lecture, which is the medical research and the publication have a map with you. Thank you so much. See you. Bye.